really makes the first month and a half of this game feel like a long beta, though. Is what these patch notes uh, made me think here, because these are huge nerfs, huge nerfs. Hey, what's going on, guys? It's like a hero. Hope you are well. Just gonna go over the patch today, right into it. It's a big patch to drop. The new season comes out this Friday. This is the patch notes for July 18th, 2023. First thing that they mentioned in these patch notes are there's going to be 6 new unique items. One of those being a general item. It's the Avarion Spear of Lycander. It's a uber unique staff, and it gives you a shrine effect for 10 to 20 seconds, and that only occurs every 30 seconds. Now, developer note does state that it's a super rare drop, but that is a general unique drop. The rest are going to be unique drops specific, or uber uniques specific to the classes. So the Barbarian's getting a unique sword, the Azure Wrath, and that's a lucky hit. Your core skills have a 20% chance to freeze an enemy for 3 seconds and deal, cold damage to them. Druids are getting a unique one-handed mace called the Flesh Render. Debilitating Roar and Blood Howl now deal certain amount of damage, 5/10 or to 1 damage to nearby poisoned enemies. Necromancer, we have the Lidless Wall. That's a unique shield, and that also has a lucky hit as well. While you have an active Bone Storm, hitting an enemy outside of Bone Storm has a 5 to 25% chance to spawn an additional Bone Storm at their location. Each of your active sacrifice bonuses increase the chances by 25%, and the total number of additional Bone Storms you can have by +1. Rogues getting one. I play Rogues, so I'm excited for this one. Eagle Horn is the unique bow. That's penetrating shot, has a 30 to 80% chance, very big range there, to deal a fire, to chance to fire an arrow that bounces off walls and scenery. Hitting enemies from behind with penetrating shot will make them vulnerable for 3 seconds. Sorcerer is getting another one, the Oculus. That's a unique wand, and that's gaining the effect of the teleport enchantment for free. When you evade using teleport enchantment, you are taken to a random location. The little developer's note here, the Azure Wrath and the Flesh Render unique items have flat damage effects, which scale with power. For example, an 820 item power, Azure Wrath deals between 3,300 to 6,700 damage. So that's good, that scaling right there. Second on the patch, besides the unique, are 7 new legendary aspects. I myself have been playing a lot of Twisted Blades. Pretty much that's the only one. I've thought about going to other ones, but seeing different aspects kind of makes me want to possibly roll another rogue for season 1. I want to see more about the changes, and we'll get into that into the bottom here. So 7 new legendary aspects. Of course, again, I'll have the notes inside the description below, so you can click on them if you want to really take a look at them there. But I'm going to go look at the rogue one, which is Pestilence Points. It's an offensive aspect. Every third cast of puncture is poison imbued with 100 to 150% of the normal potency. So I just don't know how good that's going to be to replace one of my other offensive aspects to do more damage with my puncture, but who knows. A lot of bug fixes in this one. We have a lot of challenges, dungeons that couldn't be completed, feats of strength, a lot of things that you weren't able to complete. Like, I know one of them was if you don't kill the butcher, you can't complete the dungeon. So a lot of fixes for that as well. I don't know how much overworld activities people are doing when they're at 80 though, and I think that's the other thing. It's like when you're 70 to 100, like, you're not really out there doing overworld activities or regular dungeons, right? It's still currently it's going to be these events that you're doing up here, which aren't scaling, which I understand why. Reward experience for completing Whispers in World Tours 3 and 4 has been significantly increased. Yeah, this is something that I do only because I just fill it up naturally from just playing the game, but yeah, it's not really something that I'm currently doing, so maybe that changes. We observed that the experience of a bonus rewarded for killing higher level monsters escalates too fast when compared to relative challenge involved. We still want to reward players for taking on this challenge by encouraging them to participate in power leveling together instead of one player killing enemies while another party member waits at the dungeon's entrance. So this is a big one here, and I think this is what they're saying here is, they caught the player base in 4K here. It's what a lot of people are doing, right? They'll join a party, they will have the player stay at the entrance and then go clear it. This is significant nerfs here to the level. So I think the current rule, right, if you're doing this, is you want to, whatever your level is, you want to be doing content that where it's the mobs are 3 levels higher than you. So in Nightmare Sigils, you always want to do like your level minus 54, and then that's the sigil that you should be doing, because that is going to give you that 25% experience. So killing mobs that are 3 levels higher than you is really the way to go right now. They basically have done away with, the TLDR of all of this is that they are significantly reducing boosting. Okay. And I think I'm just going to like edit all of that out, what I just said. And the TLDR is boosting is terrible now to do, right? You could still do it. Just overall, though, there's huge nerfs to leaving your buddy at the start of the entrance and killing the monsters. Significant nerfs, guys, here. We're looking at, right now, 3 levels higher. If you kill a mob that's 3 levels higher, it's giving 25%. After what it is here, postseason of Malignant, plus 10 levels higher is merely plus 15%. And not only that, but the killing of the monsters, right? The killing of the monsters as well. It is significantly nerfed. So that's the TLDR. You can, the notes are in the description if you want to go in there and look at all that, but it's pretty much done. No more boosting. Helltides. So in Helltides, we're looking to increase the danger in Helltides risk reward gameplay by making the monsters a bit more challenging. This one is a big nerf. They're basically making the gifts of mystery chest, which are the only ones that are worth doing. They're increasing those to 250 aberrant cinders from 175. A slight increase, though, which is nice, is that they're going to make all objects, all interactable objects, have a chance to drop those cinders. So I don't think that's going to fix that change, like the nerf, but they also increased the Helltide monsters, which are now 3 levels higher than the player instead of 2. About this, I think they're trying to make it so that you have more of a risk to play, but I think what they need to do really is make the other chests more rewarding, because as it stands right now, the gift of mysteries are the only chests you should be opening. Helltides.com, by the way, if you want a good website for help you with that as well. But it's not that much, but they are, I guess, trying to make that more risk versus a reward for that. But I don't know. So let's start by looking at the general aspect changes, and then I will, of course, I'll go over the rogue. That's the class that I play. Aspect of disobedience, maximum stacks have been reduced from 100 to 60%, reducing the maximum bonus armor percent from 25, 50 to now 15 to 30. So you can only get 30% now as opposed to before 50. And the max stacks is now 60. So that's a big nerf. I think the general idea here is that they currently feel that, well, let me read this right here. It's got to be something about defensive aspects are too strong, I think is what the big takeaway is going to be. And let me read right here. It says, many affixes are too efficient and are outshining alternatives. That's correct. We're looking to refine outliers, improve the number of meaningful choices in competitive slots, and also, okay, this is more to do with the roles, but what's their reasoning behind this? I'm looking for it. Oh, it's way down here. All right, we have seen that skillful players are frequently slaughtering monsters many levels above their own. Shout out to the druids, necros, and things like those kinds of builds. But the current situation is beyond what we believe is current for the long-term health of the game. To chase this goal, we're shifting power to many offensive affixes from defensive. So yeah, so this is gonna make big time sense right here. So overall, they want us to go more offensive, but just make, I guess, this will make our endgame content more deadly, particularly for those chasing our pinnacle boss, though the Uber Lilith boss that people are like killing in like 10 seconds. An encounter not meant for the faint of heart. Overcoming the pinnacle boss will take every ounce of your grit you can muster and all the tools at your disposal. We will continue to evaluate feedback from the community and make changes to our combat mechanics. So a lot of nerfs here. Nerfs to cooldown reduction, nerfs to critical strike damage, nerf to vulnerable damage. Big these are the chances that they roll, right? Inherent affixes, so big nerfs on those. And here's actually the reduction here. The critical strike damage has been reduced to minus 17%. And this is because we're seeing critical strike damage and vulnerable damage often viewed as a hard requirement for a build success in Diablo. We believe that this is a step towards allowing more builds to flourish, and will continue to make changes to support this goal. So right now, I would have to agree that crit strike damage, vulnerable damage, critical strike damage in general, even with like bone, earth, all these are just above and beyond better than all of your other options that you have. So critical strike chance, critical strike damage, vulnerable damage. That's pretty much what every build had. So they want us to stop using those. So they're nerfing those, and they're I think that they want the game to be overall more difficult. However, at this point, players have already done the content. So I guess they're now that it's a refresh here, really makes the first month and a half of this game feel like a long beta, though, is what these patch notes made me think here, because these are huge nerfs. Huge nerfs. Cooldown reduction affixes often felt mandatory due to their raw power. So again, you have more nerfs coming to cooldown reduction. Imbuement skill cooldown reduction nerfed again. Trap skill cooldown reduction nerfed. Strength, dex, intelligence, and willpower benefits when they're on weapons has been nerfed. So I have dex on both my weapons. 50% stronger when on weapons. However, now they're only 25%. So big time nerf, halving those bonuses. So just big time nerfs. Let's see this one. Many affixes are too efficient and are outshining alternatives. Yes, of course. Like crit strike damage, vulnerable. We're looking to refine the outliers. We know these changes will reduce the total amount of possible power a character can possess. That's a nice way of saying the entire game is doing too much damage. Too many characters, too many classes are doing too much damage. So we want to tone that down. So it's just a power reduction across the board. And so we're going to monitor how these changes affect players' ability to conquer expected milestones throughout the season. So huge damage nerfs, it looks like, right? The dex nerfs, the main stat nerfs, the crit damage, the vulnerable nerfs, and they are now changing so that some affixes can appear on different slots. So control impaired duration reduction can now appear on pants. Barrier generation can now appear on all classes. Lucky hit chance while a bear can now appear for all classes. So just they want people to stop using those three stats, basically, to TLDR. They want people to stop using crit strike, chance, and vulnerable. So big nerfs to their general across the board here. I'm looking at all of these. And we do have some increases here though. And this is probably to try to offset the huge amounts of nerfs to vulnerable crit strike in that. So poison damage has been increased by around 25%, for example. We have a lot of increases for fire damage by 40%. We have companion skill, like a lot of increases to damage here in hopes of offsetting the massive nerfs to the other stats. So the other thing that I noticed here as well is that we have big nerfs coming to the forms of defensive. So as it stands right now, like your chest and your legs, you want to be stacking damage reduction to enemies that are affected by some kind of either poison, bleeding, depending on your class, right? So damage reduction from enemies that have a status effect, damage reduction from close enemies, damage reduction from distant enemies. You basically want all these stats right here, right? So they're all getting nerfed. Damage reduction from close enemies, 20% reduction in effectiveness. So all those and didn't. Oh yeah, okay. I was wondering. I was like, did total armor evade this nerf? But it did not. Total armor, like the stat itself, has been reduced its effectiveness. So when you get it, by 30%. So just across the board there. The other ones are getting increased, right? So maybe let me just look. So we're increasing all the offensive ones, right? And we're decreasing the defensive ones. Defensive affixes right now are so incredibly strong, and that's what they're saying here. They're shifting that power. So we'll see how it plays out for that. But overall, big shakeup to the current way the game is being played right now. Right now, you stack those defensives, and you're able to do that most difficult content as well. So now they want there to be a shift to offensive, but more of a meaning to accomplishing a level or tier 100 nightmare dungeon, right? They want that killing that pinnacle boss to be more significant, which leads me to believe there might not be a whole lot of new end game things that you need to do other than, hey, well, if you kill that pinnacle boss, it really means something because we've nerfed, we've made it more difficult to do those things. So therefore, hey, when you get it, that means something more. So you can take comfort in that. So overcoming pinnacle bosses should take every ounce of grit again. And they basically, you're killing our content too fast. So we're going to do this to it. You know what I mean? And it kind of sucks, I feel, overall. But I do think that vulnerable damage is really strong. I do think that is very strong. It's such a requirement that if you don't have it on there, right? If it's not already on there, then it makes whatever you get, whatever item that you have, right? It makes it just not worth it for most builds, right? That you want that. So big nerfs overall. I guess we can spend some time looking over at the classes. I'm going to look here the rogue class. It's kind of what I plays. So again, you can look at these other classes for yourself if you're more familiar with those. I'm just stick to what the rogue is, what I know here. So I'm not seeing right off the bat. I'm not seeing any big time nerfs here for rogue. A lot of increases. Even the Supreme Death Trap cooldown has been reduction increased from 12 to 10 to 12. So I mean, increase there. Siphoning strikes also requires a lucky hit chance of 75%. Victimize lucky hit chance increase. Rugged damage reduction over time effects increase from, so increases there. A lot of the stuff that's not being used, I would say here. Paragon combat glyphs bonuses now affect all damage instead of just core skills. That's a nice one. That is nice. Eldritch Bounty legendary node increase from 6 to 9. So I use that board right now. That's nice. Some aspects increase the damage here. So just overall, I feel like it's just increases. So the rogues got off. Pretty lucky there. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Just a quick overview here. just a lot of damage, nerfs overall, kind of a push away from the meta. Subscribe for future content, guys. I will most likely be re-rolling a rogue again for the new season. I do feel like the rogue is the most fair class. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. It really feels like there isn't going to be a whole lot of new things to do. I guess when we get more information, like, you know, but it feels like they're making the end game content more difficult to accomplish as opposed to giving us new things to do in the end game. Let me know what you think in the comments. Make sure to follow me over on kick.com/likeahero. I will see you guys later. Take care.